Hey, what's up, Unbroken Nation? I think about this space of in that sobriety. I think the heart, and I'm curious about your thoughts on this. I think the hardest aspect of it is the actually having to sit with yourself.
Yeah.
And I recall like I never thought I was an alcoholic. I still to this day don't. I never thought I was a drug addict. I never thought I was a sexaholic. Whatever that thing aholic was, work, whatever it may be. I was just like anything but feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. What's interesting for me is, and your and I's backgrounds are a little bit different. I mean, your trauma is, a lot of what, in the trauma world we might call capital T trauma, right?
Hmm.
And my trauma is a lot of what we would call lowercase t trauma, like just a long time of sort of being, sort of neglected and, not not parental figures that knew what to do with a child like me. And so for me, the big feeling for me, a lot of it was I couldn't stand how I think I'd gotten so good at deadening my feelings even before I started doing drugs and alcohol. That drugs and alcohol, in some ways, for me, were the only way I could ever feel alive.
Hmm.
And I felt dead otherwise. And so the feeling that was really hard for me to sit with was that just sort of absolute blankness inside. That absolute just nothing seems to matter, nothing seems to have any point, everything seems gray and drab, and then I drink or use in the world, at least for a little while. Sorry about that.
No
The
worries.
world, at least for a little while, seems to look like it's worth living for a little while. And then I get sober again, and it's back to that, like, why bother? What's the point?
Yeah.
Feeling.
There's like a self tyranny and nihilism that comes along with that feeling.
Yeah.
At least for me, that's how it was. And I've found that now it's like I can have a glass of wine and my life isn't upside down. And that's come from realizing, like you said, there was a reason. Dude, the reason I was partying like a psycho is because like I had not stepped into any aspect of value for myself. And I think that's unfortunate, and an unfortunate truth for many, many people. So you're going through this, you're in this process, you're stepping into sobriety. I assume that in this, you were probably like trying to rebuild your relationship with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I got sober in traditional 12-step, AA in Central Ohio in 1995, right? Like it was so there was, a big focus was building a relationship with a higher power, creating, repairing relationships around you. But yeah, so much of it, I think, so much of my journey in sobriety has been, yes, building a relationship with myself so that I'm comfortable in my own skin,
Yeah.
so that I feel like, that I don't have the need to change my consciousness all the time.
I want to find the right way to phrase this. The journey I went through into understanding what you just said was so incredibly arduous that I did not want to live any longer because I was like, being me is really hard. How did you step into that?
I guess I could trot out the old one day at a time cliche. How did I step into it? Um, with a lot of help and a lot of support and a lot of modeling from people who went before me, and a lot of reading and a lot of, yeah, all the above. I mean, therapy, reading, You told me I couldn't use the J word, so I won't.
That J word's journaling, by the way.
Yes. But yeah, talking to people. There's a number of things about 12-step programs that I don't love, and I sometimes am a little envious of people who get sober today, because there's so many things on offer that simply weren't when in 1995. They just weren't, and yet for me the thing that was so critically important was to be around other people who were like me, and to hear other people share, and to hear myself share, and to talk about what was going on. I think those were some of the early really important steps.